what number we're up to now?
I think it's
157.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. Actually, no, I did last week's. Right, we should be live. We have been for like 30 seconds. I don't know.
okay. Just hasn't quite come up yet.
Multi-stream.
Scheduled for the 11th and the 8th. So weird.
Hang on YouTube.
Because I'm clicking on live videos now, and I'm on our channel.
Hang on, I'll send you the link.
Thanks, mate.
That was so Inception-like. Like I was watching us live on YouTube. It was weird. I should have had the screen on so everybody could see me watching us in the past, talking about sharing a link with the people that aren't watching us live so they can come and watch us live.
Yeah.
It sounds like an episode of Seinfeld or something. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I've done Insta.
We can. I can. Oh no, I have to link it to do the
Facebook
Twitter.
is done. And I'll just do Twitter now. I'm using the GG Jackson. I think that's everything, isn't it? Twitter.
They're
Facebook,
the main. They're the big
Insta.
socials. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And then we'll do a big drive in the next week or two to be the whole like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all the things we love to not love on about YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, so those algorithms find us.
That's right. Win the algorithm war.
That's it.
All right.
We are ready. Welcome, everybody, to episode 157 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. Welcome back, Russ.
Hi, mate. Not that happy to be back, to be honest, but thank you very much for giving me the week off. It was quite delicious, to be honest. Yeah.
I'm glad you got your time off. I had some lovely banter with friend of the show, Joe Fu.
Yeah, he did a good job, you two. Held it down. Yeah.
Felt very
Made the team
2000, like Lakers 2000, Shaq Kobe dominance.
You were definitely in your era, and I feel like you time-stamped your moment in hobby time. I think that's the best way to say it.
I think that's reasonable. I'm on the hunt for one of those Thunder and Lightnings now because I don't think I've got one. I might have one.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So you had a listen, did you?
Yeah, I would listen to, I would say 90% of it. It's not that I didn't want to listen to the end bit. I think I just got distracted and just didn't get around to doing it. But yeah, no, I listened. I was actually at the gym listening to it, so it was
nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
I think one like major difference I would say though is that, and you even said it yourself through, you were like, we'll talk about this, but then didn't have the stats for it.
Yeah. Oh, look,
so I was writing notes down.
I missed you so much last week. I'm like,
I was writing stats down. So I feel like let's just start right there. So let's just get down to the stats. So the first thing you said, and I feel like I need to defend myself on this, was that Russell thinks that Victor Wembanyama is going to take over Jordan. And specifically what I said was, I think he's going to have more cards graded than Jordan.
True.
That is what I said. Okay, so
True.
let's I feel like I had to defend myself on that.
We still think you're wrong on that, by the way. But
that's fine. Look, You know those people that were originally early adopters of crypto, and then now they're driving around in Lamborghinis and stuff. This is how I feel about this take on Wemby. I'm like, this is a home run.
Rust
I
coin.
can't.
It's a
I
Rust
can't
coin.
believe that
Wemby coin? Is that what it's going to be called?
I'm
That's
in the
new
minority
currency.
on
Yeah.
this one. Yeah.
You know,
So
yeah, well, it could be. You might not be in the minority. We might be in the minority. I just might be very loud.
this
about
month alone, 48,600 Wemby cards were graded
They'll get bored
in
eventually.
in a month.
What's the gap now? Should we start like tracking the gap on Jordans?
It's just insane. Like the popularity of this man, hobby-wise, is just through the roof.
Well, you're right. I've been cynical about this. I'll admit I've been cynical about this. However,
No, I don't think you've been cynical. I just think you've just maybe just been a bit more moderate than I've been. That's all.
I think the numbers will settle. I think it's probably the best word when Wemby's cards aren't his rookie cards.
Yeah, but why do you think that though? That's the key point, right?
Well, the rookie card is the one that's most heavily graded. That's what I would think is most heavily graded.
Yeah, see, that is true. But I think also I've been thinking about this probably more than I care to admit. He's going to have 2 rookie years when you think about it, right? Because what's going to happen is Panini's going to flog the absolute shit out of him, and they're going to print, 20 different types of cards, and then within that, there's going to be hobby and retail and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then next year, or even now, like very imminently, and we're going to talk about this in a second, the Topps previews has came out. Then there's going to be all those Topps cards that are going to come out too with his autograph and the inserts and stuff, right? So actually, in kind of a weird way, he's going to be double dipped, not in 2 products, in 2 companies, lots of products.
Yeah, significantly.
Right?
You're right. Yeah.
And so then after that, there's going to be all the other cards that come through, and I still think they're going to be more collected than the next, maybe even 2 draft years of cards.
Yeah.
And then and this is very pop culture, and so it's not really fair to throw this in your face, but the gold medal game, which I'm not all the way through watching yet, but there's clearly the Wemby effect happening here.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. And you could even hear in the crowd, like the buzz around, of course, like all the big dogs, but there was buzz around Wemby too. Like this guy is popular,
Yeah.
And so I think that does translate into our space, which is, the hobby space. So
yeah, no doubt. I just think that the gap between him and Jordan is so great. People aren't going to stop grading Jordans. I just think the gap's. I don't doubt that he'll be like top 5. Like if he continues the way he's going, he's going to be an all-time athlete.
But the thing is, once you get to 5, you're pretty much 3rd or 2nd. There's not that much gap between 2nd.
If he gets over 1 million cards graded, he's in 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Understand that.
It's a funny list. It's kind of like
I just don't see.
Yeah.
I don't see Jordan being overtook. That'll probably be where I'm.
The other reason why I feel okay about this take too is that I've never had this thought about Jar or Luca. I've never had this thought about Zion. I've never, really got, and even Wemby himself. I feel like we've been quite moderate on this show about his sort of hobby space. So
yeah,
I think that's my other thing. Yeah. All right. So then the next thing you're talking about is how many individual cards are for the players. So
yes, I did too.
Now, for people at home, this is actually like a really good frequently asked question, and it's a really good sort of education piece. And Ryan, if you are listening from GemRate, you really need to up your education game. So if you go into GemRate, even Card Ladder for that matter, there's actually a lot more information that is available to you that you may or may not know. So you go to GemRate, then you click on player, and then from there, when you search for a player, it will bring up a lot of information really quickly. And one of the things that you can get from GemRate is the number of cards that is graded. So Wemby's got 1,472.
Yep.
Shaq has 5,970. So that's what you and Joe were talking about. How many's Wemby's got?
Yeah.
How many is Shaq? Then I noticed you've added in a few notes into the sheet. So I think you should.
Yeah,
take the honors on this one.
Once you put this into the run sheet, I went, oh my god, I should have probably looked at the GemRate website before.
'Cause it's so easy to pull
shouting
up
out
too.
to Ryan. Yeah.
No, you could have done that live, right?
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
And for people at home, I'm not making the point of you could have done that, more how quickly for the people at home can do this. It's really easy
that's
to do
true.
it. Yeah.
Well, what I'll do is for those playing at home or on YouTube or watching live or on the video feed, I'll go through these couple of stats and then we'll do a live.
So show people how to do
guess.
it. I think this week on Insta we'll do it too. We'll do a short
Yeah.
video about how to do this because it's a really good one.
So I went in and I looked up a couple of key players because I think the first time we talked through it, I was curious about Shaq and Zion because they were so close on the list, the overall list.
A number of things. They're very hobby-wise. There is a lot to compare there.
I thought Shaq's unique cards would be way more than Zion. Now I don't know what the number of cards factors in. It could, given the amount of different parallels, this data could be a little bit skewed. But
it could be skewed or it could be 100% accurate, and I'm leaning towards more 100%.
And I go with PSA on it because it's
people
the PSA.
grade.
It's the PSA number. Now, sure, there might be 2 or 3 that PSA were never graded and they might be Beckett graded, but I think we're sort of PSA data is the best one to take from it. Shaq with 5,970, Zion, same numbers but we've transposed them a little bit, 5,079.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, it's not that much different. It's literally about 900 cards different in the unique numbers. That's like data wise, that surprises me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I looked up Zion. Michael Jordan, the GOAT himself, has 10,814 unique basketball cards graded. However, because obviously he's done he did the Space Jam movie and he did baseball. 12,259 cards. So I don't know how the categories are done, but that's unique number of cards.
Yeah,
that have been graded.
Crosses so many genres of popularity. I think that's the best way to explain that.
So, and I've got on the run sheet, I've got somebody else.
Yeah, so my guess off air was Kobe.
They have 11,392 unique cards graded. And your guess
Give
is
me
Kobe?
2 more guesses.
Yep.
Give me 2 more guesses. My next guess is Magic.
Not Magic. They're not in the top 10.
Maybe Steph Curry.
Well done.
That's my last guess.
Good guess. Now I will reveal to the audience that probably can't really see it all that well because it's the gem rate stuff. We've got 11,392 unique cards for Stephen Curry. And
it is Steph, is it?
Yeah, it is Steph.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I can't see what you can see.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, so it is. It was Steph Curry. I, for obvious reasons, thought I'd start looking him up a bit today. That was, I was surprised.
Yeah, cool.
He's got more unique basketball cards graded than Jordan. And 10% of the amount graded, well, roughly, was it 200 and something thousand? That's not crazy. Yeah. Very interesting data. So
great.
Thanks, Ryan. That's
of course. As always, thank you, Ryan, for your huge contributions to the hobby.
Yeah, the GemRate website has got a lot of gems on it. Not to sort of double dip on the word gem, but you've got the top menu, which has got top cards of all time, player data, which is where this comes from. And as I said, we'll do a little video throughout the week to go through that. And the website can be a bit slow at times because there's a lot of data to go through. But basically, all you do is you go into the player data and type a player's name, and it'll give you all of the players. It's quite handy since you said it.
And easy.
Kobe Bryant. Now I have to know.
Yeah.
Since
why not?
We'll find out live. Not for those that are playing at home, could probably see Ken Griffey Jr. That's like they always put a sample. So Kobe Bryant, number of unique cards 10,343.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think he was, in terms of popularity, he was way up there.
Yeah. So, and you can deep dive and you can do filters into specific years. You can filter by any category, any year, any set in particular. So if we're going to Kobe's in 1996, it filters the data to only the 1996 cards. And then if you want to do that again, I mean, you can look for your total graded. Is that total graded? Yeah. And you can sort that by the total number, how many gems there are. You can sort it by the gem rate. Pretty cool. Yep. A lot of data to play with. As I said last week, there's lots of data there, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it and what it means, but there's lots of it there. It's amazing. And Brian does an amazing job.
Yeah. All right, another piece of useless data for you. 30,049 is our total number of downloads on the podcast, Dad. So we just clicked over 30K, so hooray for us.
Excellent.
Thank you for all our listeners. Thank you for all the support from our Central Coast Radio family. I think that's the best way to say it. And Central Coast Radio have got their own announcement this week. So they've been collecting content creators quite a lot. And they've got a metal show coming. So to say that I am excited is very much an understatement. So looking forward to that.
Our own little mini Olympics.
That's right. Alrighty, first item in the run sheet of this week is Topps coming out with Chrome. So I think this has been in the works for a long time, and I think there's a lot of people in the hobby who, let's call them from the old school, who are very, very excited about this coming out. I'm probably a little bit middling at the moment because unlicensed stuff is not as exciting for me as licensed stuff. I think that's the best way to say it. You know, I think in saying all of that, though, it's going to be insanely popular, and I think people are going to be wanting this in a very intense way. So LeBron autos are going to be there, Wemby autos are going to be there, and they've done a really good job of picking up people in that sort of mid-tier, you know, some old school veterans. You know, just one off the top of my head, you know, Penny Hardaway is going to be in there. And that's not like the biggest get in the world, but at the same time, if you get Magic in a PYT, that will be very tidy to pick up a penny auto. So I see where the value comes in that sort of space. This is from Dan the Cardman. If you do not follow this gentleman on YouTube and Instagram, you need to do so in a big way. He's also an Aussie. He's probably a bit smarter than you and I, Ad, but at the same time, he's very, very good at what he does. So this is from Dan the Cardman. He picked up that the writing on the rookie stars is the same font from the TV show Pawn Stars, Pawn.
Wow.
For those spelling at home. So he's sort of making the joke about Topps basically just using, you know, templated text on their cards, which is kind of, in a way, kind of cool, isn't it?
It's interesting where they borrowed it from, though.
Well, I think they probably just borrowed it out of Microsoft Word. Like, let's keep it real. I don't think they might have, you know, just as Pawn Stars took it out of Microsoft Word.
I was going to say it's probably not a licensed font.
Yeah,
it's not like Star Wars, right? Where
an open source font. Yeah.
So like, you know, like like very recognizable. As a Star Wars is probably a good example of the style of text, or Super Mario Brothers or something like that, where the actual font itself is incredibly recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they could have gone Comic Sans. That would have stirred some pots, wouldn't it?
That would have really triggered some.
That would have been exactly. There would have been a lot of reporting to social media posts, I'm sure. Inappropriate use of Comic Sans. Maybe we should run a poll. What's the most offensive font? Anyway. Windings.
I think at this point, we don't deep dive into this too much more. You know, I think Topps Chrome is coming. People are going to be excited about it. And, you know, let's hold tight until it gets there.
I think there's a current lot of collectors that maybe don't have the same excitement level as some of us that have been in the hobby a bit longer. But it's nice to see it back. It is nice to see it back.
Look, I think I've made my opinion pretty clear about this. Until I actually see the product, I'm not going to be, jumping to too many conclusions. I think
reserving judgment. I like it.
No, I just think Panini have been painted as the bad guy here, but it's actually possible that maybe they're not as bad as Fanatics. You know what I mean? Like the only thing I've seen from Fanatics so far is them doing some pretty dodgy deals, against other companies, and so do you then trust that person with the hobby future? That also has a monopoly, like.
Well, you don't have. We really don't have a choice. We don't have a choice in the matter, unfortunately.
We don't have a choice, but it doesn't mean that. Anyway,
it's true. It's true. I know exactly what you're gonna get.
All right, let's move on. I don't want this to be a poo-poo on Fanatics when they haven't done much yet. So
yeah.
All right, let's go to our first commercial break, which is a little bit of an announcement for us to add. We will be at the Hobby Hangout. Hobby Hangout is Sunday, the 17th of November. So I think the other thing for us to declare at this point too is they are sponsoring us to be there. They are sponsoring us for some advertising. So this is a paid advertisement, and we couldn't be happier to be back in bed with the boys from the Hobby Hangout. So thank you so much for your ongoing support. It's been enormous for us.
Yeah, they put on a great show. Yeah.
I think they've spent a lot of time curating it, a lot of time improving it. They listen to people in terms of what needs to be done. So I think the big one we spoke about last time was the lighting. That was just fantastic. They've also got a early bird pre-sale competition. Go into the draw to win a $500 Hobby Hangout voucher. Ooh. Each patron will also receive a goodie bag on entry. So that's also new for this year too. So goodie bags for everyone. Everyone loves free stuff. Like, let's be honest about that.
Everyone likes
Trading Zone, of course, workshops, live breaks. There's going to be a panel. There's also going to be live podcasts. Our name isn't technically under the live podcasting thing, but I think we can reveal that we will be back in live podding. Yep.
Whether they allow it or not, no. We're in negotiations for the finer details. We won't be rogue podcasting, I'm sure.
The Hobby Australia card and collectibles will be there. So that's Lane and his fantastic 130 point app. Pokeology, Slaw collectibles. This is just a few random ones. 8-bit cards, PG collectibles, Boop collectibles, the Melbourne Cardtel. Jake's Breaks, Cardslinger Collectibles, Jam City Sports Cards, Edge Collectibles, Pokemags, Card Fever, and Carson TCG, who has been making some moves in the Melbourne hobby scene of late. Carson has, so.
Very nice. It's going to be busy. It's going to be awesome. It's November. It's not far away.
No.
It will be the middle of November in, I say no time, but it's 3 months away. It's not like it's... Yeah.
Imminently.
Very, very much so.
Imminently.
Yeah.
So, we're back. Everybody, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Now, this next story is normally I would be engaging in some sort of hardcore Schadenfreude right now, but this is not the perspective that I'll be approaching this story from. This is about Shine going to the Nationals, flying home in a private jet, and then opening an $80,000 case of cards, exquisite, only to find out that it had been reasonably well resealed. I think that's the best way to say it. He live streamed the whole thing. So in terms of having, a body of proof or evidence, which I don't think that's why he was live streaming it. I actually think it was a slight flex. He's like, check me out.
Yeah.
I'm in a private jet. I'm ripping 80K's worth of cards. Now, really interestingly, at the start, people were saying you're being dudded. Then the next sort of wave of comments that came through Twitter was that actually in that exquisite year, there was multiple years of cards in it. So then people saying you don't know your product, but then it came back that then when people checked those cards more thoroughly, those particular cards weren't in, even though it was a multi-year thing, they weren't in the checklist.
In that checklist, okay.
Yeah. So then by the time he got to the third box, he didn't even rip it open. And so fast forwarding, 2 weeks. So, because I haven't spoken to you for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
He actually got his money back from the person that he purchased it from.
Nice.
But it does
it does leave a foul taste, doesn't it?
Leaves a foul taste, but also too, someone's holding that bag, right? And so who knows, where that person got it from. But interesting, thing about this, and I suppose, this is kind of where I might just change up the sheet a little bit here, Ad. So I think this is probably the perfect opportunity for you. Actually, I'll let you chip in first, and then I'll segue into the next little bit.
Oh, look, it's it just goes to show much how open we are to exploitation in the hobby,
Yeah,
and it leaves me with a bit of a bad taste because there are people out there that don't have the best of intentions for the people in this hobby.
yep, that's exactly right.
It doesn't sit well with me. And look, I guess the big thing is that people are aware that these things happen, and that they report it. They have to. That's the way we protect each other in this community, because there is no formal way of regulating it, but making sure that we're educated is definitely one of the ways that we protect one another.
Mm. I think that is part of it, and I think the other part too is about having sellers that you trust.
Yeah.
And so where I'm going with that is, so for example, for my sealed, I only purchase from one person.
Yep.
Part of that is trust, part of it is laziness, and part of it is I know the service. I know what I'm paying for is what I'm getting, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no gray in this equation. It's all a very black and white thing. And so if you take that one step further than that, and I've been thinking a bit about this lately. So let's take the name of a card shop in Melbourne that is a fruit, and let's call it Apple Collectibles, hypothetically.
Call them strawberries.
Strawberry Collectibles. And Strawberry Collectibles over the years have copped a bit of flack here and there for some of the things that they've done that might not have always been perfect for all collectors' opinions, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, and pricing is one of the things that they've been criticized for, but at the same time, if you go to Strawberry Collectibles, I would say their name, but they're not paying us for advertising, so I'm going to say, like, too bad, so sad for that. But you at least know what you're getting when you're dealing with these people, and I think that's, when you sort of like get down to it, and you're not always getting the best deal from them, or you're not always getting the best price, or whatever it is that you're being criticized for, but at the same time you are getting what you paid for. And I think how much you value that, or whatever price you put it at, in my mind that value is becoming more and more valuable to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. And when I see stuff like this, I'm like, that's why I am quite conservative with some of the things that I do in the hobby.
Yeah.
You might be able to get a better price from whatever guy that's selling it at some delicious price, but yeah, like, what actually are you getting? So yeah.
You could go to some random, I don't know, market or place to try and find a better deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might
So
find
can I
a
be
better
honest
deal.
with you?
Yeah.
And I actually wonder, that's what happened to Shine, to be honest. I think he probably bought it off somebody that might not have been that reputable.
Yeah.
And I actually suspect the person who sold it to him didn't do the scam. They were dealing with someone else who scammed. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Secondhand scamming, like, as in, was on selling it to try and make
because he would never get his money back if that dude was scamming him. And I think that's also where this becomes like, it's a bit shady sometimes. Yeah. So let's hold that thought, because let's now go into our next segment, which is about Industrial Inspecting and Consulting LLC. So this company is the one that everyone has been talking about, but for some weird reason, I haven't heard one person say the name of the company. And for me, that's like a little bit perplexing, to be honest. Like, so if you listen to Sports Cards Nonsense, if you listen to Jeff Wilson online, this is who they're talking about. This is the people who are offering the X-ray your products, and then they can tell you what's in the boxes, what's in the packets, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And so what to me is really interesting about this is, not only do they have prices online, they also offer you the software for you to look at your own CT scans. They also offer you the service that will analyze the scans for you to help you pick it out. And it's all pretty transparent on their webpage. And it didn't take me that long to just Google search and find this ad. So Um,
I'm having a look at this site. I
where
can't.
do you sit on this in terms of where this fits into the hobby? Because I think from what I understand looking on Reddit about this is that this has been going on for a while, but now it's just becoming into the mainstream. So people have been doing it, but now it's available commercially.
I think it's. I think it's incredibly unethical. But the fact that it's entering the mainstream is just like. It just shows you the lengths that people are prepared to go
Yeah.
to try and defraud the community.
Yeah, sure.
And to try and get an advantage, an unfair advantage, might I
Yeah,
add.
so I personally think defraud is. I know where you're coming from when you say that, but I don't think that's probably the right word. So get an unfair advantage. I think that's like the key, right? So, and then from that, then you unpack it a bit more and you say, so what else do people do add to try and get an unfair advantage in the hobby? They weigh packets.
Yeah.
And then the other big one recently was with Crown Royale. Remember that thing where they
The
calculated the serial number and then they knew which one had the kabooms and which one didn't,
yeah.
right? So that's the three sort of big ones that come to my mind. But so let's take pack weighing in first, right? So the people that get the heavy packs think that they're getting a relic card,
Yeah.
right? And so in Select Hobby, that doesn't work because there's blockers in it, and there's a few other products that they do stuff like that to sort of even out the odds a little bit. But actually, for me, if you're asking me, do I want a heavy pack or a light pack? I'm probably taking the light pack because then I think you've got more chance of getting an autograph in it, and then
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
more likely to get a numbered card. And I probably think they're more valuable than patches anyway, like in terms of aftermarket resale. So I think that theory doesn't stand that strong to me.
Yeah.
The one about Kaboom, I think that's a home run, and you can't argue with that. No matter if I'm trying to be the glass half full or empty, that's a stupid argument. Like those people are just like playing the game, and we're just paying for dud boxes.
Yeah.
And then this one here, the X-raying and the CT, I'm really in the middle on this. I'm actually not too sure on how this is comprehensively going to change. I sort of put this in the same equation as pack weighing, to be honest, Ed. Like I'm not really that too sure, like where it fits in.
Yeah. The scanning side of it is just like,
If you're spending $75 on a pack to have that scanned, how many packets do you need to scan to get back the return on investment? Like I think this is the same thing of like
yeah.
the bank wins or the casino wins, and I think the casino in this instance
Yeah, for sure.
is the CT scanners, guys. So if you send in 10 packets, that's $750. Like that's before you've paid for your product. How many packets do you need to scan to get that back? Like, oh, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, what would that work on?
I'm just going because for those on the vlog, just so you're aware, Russell, I'm on that website. I'm just scanning their case studies and bits and pieces, and
Yeah,
I don't know. For me, it looks suspicious as far as what they're trying to do. They're trying to use technology to get an unfair advantage. There's a Pokemon card scan as well.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. So just for clarity, where I sit on this, I don't agree with this, but I'm just trying to objectively analyze how much of the impact on the hobby this is going to have. And so down a little bit in the thing, it says here, Logan Paul, just call us next time. And that's why I thought we could tie this in with Shine. So I actually wonder if this is where it really does come into like really good value. So
Okay.
Shine makes an $80,000 purchase, right?
Yep.
He can scan it, and then they can say, "Oh, actually, this has been repacked," or "Actually, this hasn't got the right cards in it." And I actually think if you're using it for good and you're using it for a proper reason, I think that's the type of thing that it would be fantastic for. Because, like, think about, for example, in the ultra modern game, Prism Hobby from 1819. Like, at some point, that's going to be selling for $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a box, right?
Yeah.
Great. chuck it into a scanner, see if it is legit and everything is like all packed up in it properly. Yeah, fantastic. Then you can get it back. I think that's the type of stuff that, that would be fantastic for.
True. They
if it could be done.
They've made a statement. They've released. Oh, sorry. There's a statement on the vlog with regards to the world's first collector card CT scanning service.
Yeah.
So update is the 3rd of August. We are aware and working through the moral dilemma of CT scanning sealed collectibles. Our objective position is one of scientific ability and data-driven results. It's not our responsibility to determine the ethical positions and choices of others, and we do not accept responsibility for their actions. So it's a bit of a disclaimer for them. 1. We've brought awareness to the entire industry of the existence of these capabilities of this technology. It is up to individuals to make an informed decision moving forward.
But that's a cop-out.
It is such an absolute cop-out. They've got, if it's a legitimate business, I'm guessing they've got a legal team that's drafted this, or they've tried to do it to have some kind of legal stance. In light of information we've received from industry insiders, we believe companies are using this technology in secret to take advantage of the collectibles market. 3, we are making this technology accessible to everyone rather than just the minority. So we're going to exploit everybody and take their money to do what we know is unethical.
No, but to take that last point, I don't think that many people in the community deny that this is going on.
Yeah.
To take their point, right? So, again, I'm not taking sides here, but I'm just trying to be objective, right? And that is not, no one out there has said that this is not happening.
Yeah. And they're just making the technology available, is what they're claiming. They've got, we are working on policies to combat deceptive practices, and we're working on partnering with manufacturers to develop packaging security solutions. We'll continue to consider every request we receive. This technology is here to stay, and there will probably be additional companies offering a service at some time in the future. And
there will be, absolutely. And talking about requests, I've sent them an email request to come on the podcast. So
awesome.
If you are somehow listening, industrialinspection.com, we would love to hear your perspective.
And their final, they've got one final update and said the majority of requests we've received have been from people curious about the value of their 30-year-old collections. If this is their opportunity for a life-changing moment.
I mean, I just want to use swear words right now. Get fucked. What they're really trying to say is, should I sell this or should I open it?
You should have just played the Kawhi clip.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, I'd love to have a chat with them. That'd be.
So I'm going to throw these guys some shade though. So what stops them from? Okay, so I've got a case of Flawless, right?
Yeah.
I send it into them. It's got some good cards in it. What stops them keeping that and sending me out a dud one?
That's even more deceptive.
What?
It's layers upon.
If someone is partaking in this type of behavior, which we probably consider to be dubious, why would you trust them with your valuable stuff?
Yeah. So this is full. I think that their little.
I would take that a step further. Just say 10 people send them in $100,000 worth of stuff each. That's $1 million. What stops them from just taking that $1 million worth of stuff and disappearing into the ether?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, how delicious would that be?
Terrifying to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know. I feel like the update they've put on their website is very much a covering one's behind scenario. They're trying to draw a line in the sand and go, look, we're not condoning unethical stuff. We're just providing technology. How people choose to use that is
or they've had a lot of criticism online and in DM and in emails, and now they're just saying, "Yep, it's not us who's doing the bad stuff. We're just, it's like drug dealers.
We only make the weapons."
That's right. That's right. It's the government.
Yep.
Hey, let's not get too political.
Yeah,
we don't do politics on this show.
No, we don't.
All right. On that note, let's take a break.
It
is the time to have a break. Go get a coffee ad.
Yep, go and grab a drink.
And we'll come back. While you're grabbing a drink, I will do an advertisement. US Sports Cards Australia, our primary And if everything goes well, they're going to be with us for at least the next 12 months. So thank you, Ross and Adam. Ross and Michael, I should say. I always get his name wrong. I should really get that right. For your support
you can thank me too.
And your pledge. No. We really appreciate everything you do. Check out ussportscardsaustralia.com.au and check out Ross's baby, which is ComCA. And if you're familiar with ComC in America, this is exactly the same thing, but ComC in Australia. You send all your cards to Ross. He will put them all online. You can buy and sell the cards on his digital platform. At the end of the month, he'll send you some cash for the cards that you've sold. And then people get to love the cards that you don't want anymore. If you are a breaker and you have a box of cards sitting there that you literally just cannot be bothered to throw them in the bin, you're so lazy you can't even walk down to the skip to put them in there, put a sticker on it, send it to Ross. He'll put them online and send you some money for them. Even better, that's the ultimate win-win. So again, if you would like to check that out, go to US Sports Cards Australia, click on the three noodles and click on ComCA for the search and also the login function there. Adam, we're back. Thanks for coming back, mate.
Thank you. I'm now very hydrated.
Excellent. And the music this week has been very Paul Dempsey heavy and Bernard Fanning and Bob Dylan, which is not really a surprise for me, but I did get 2 new CDs this week, so I've done a bit of Bob Dylan smashing and
That's fair. That's fair.
Fanning Dempsey National Park. Have you heard the new album?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I will confess that last week's playlist, some of which was inspired by the fact that I went to see Deadpool versus Wolverine. So
awesome. Yeah.
Couldn't help it.
Do you like Bernard Fanning or Paul Dempsey?
I do like Bernard Fanning.
Okay, so at least have one listen then, because it's actually worth listening to. So
Nice.
yeah. Alrighty, we're going to talk about the GOAT. 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 of 9 field goals, and 0 of 3 from the 3-point line. Adam Amy, whose box score is that?
Can I have 3 guesses as well?
Yeah, you can. You can have 4.
All right. So given what I've seen on social media, my first guess was going to be Jason Tatum, but I don't think he got enough time on the court to do that.
He didn't get that many minutes to get 9 shots up, man.
Exactly. He did. I don't think he got the time on the court. My second guess would have been Bronny James, just because it always is now. Like, just thought drag him into everything.
Nah, unfortunately not.
No.
Team Canada he played for.
Team Canada.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, who do I not like on Team Canada?
Think about who I don't like.
Who you don't like on Team Canada? It's not SGA. He put up good
Dylan
numbers.
Dylan Brooks.
I was going to be mean and say someone like Kelly Olynyk or something.
Whose quote is this? It kills me that I have to wait 4 more years.
Oh, that's Josh Giddey. I watched the Olympics.
You would think after the last 12 months that he just had, saying something like, it kills me I have to wait 4 more years, is something his publicist was saying to him, Josh, whatever you say at the end of today's game, do not say, it kills me I have to wait for 4 more years.
I don't know. There's worse things you could say.
I'm all ears, man.
Josh Giddey is going to be the face of Australian basketball, I think, for a while. I think he is taking the torch from Paddy. And I don't think Paddy Mills is going to make it through the next Olympics. Although they did give Joe Ingles a random spot on the roster for no reason.
Yeah.
The one that they should have given to Matisse Thybulle. I'm not going to go on a rant now, but I've already done that.
So it seems like there was a bit more to that than met the public eye. Apparently he didn't get that well with the rest of the group. There was some sort of division within the locker room on that. So that was
I don't know.
A locker room decision. It wasn't a talent decision.
So it's Matisse, Isaiah Thomas, Thybulle.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But maybe not quite.
Not quite Isaiah.
Yeah. So yeah, to take your point about Josh Giddey, he played very well. And I think if you are a Chicago Bulls fan and or a Josh Giddey holder,
Exciting.
very exciting.
Exciting times for sure.
So when I was making the list, my favorite event was the Turkish shooter Yusuf Disic turning up with his glasses on his hand in his pocket, winning a silver medal. That to me was just like the my favorite Olympics moment. But then just yesterday or the day before, we had that Australian breakdancer doing the water sprinkler and then some crazy like kangaroo hop
It
and just
was
like won the Olympics basically. So
not
congratulations to
not
her.
our finest moment.
Wasn't it? I think that's the most. I've been thinking about this like way too much. It's probably the most Australian thing that could have been done at. Do you know what I mean? Sending like a mid-30s university lecturer along.
It was like, here you go, hold my beer. I'm going to go out and break dance.
Who hopped like a kangaroo and did the sprinkler. Like, just doesn't get any better, really.
My highlight in that little patch was the when I was watching the basketball, I flicked over and watched the skateboarding. Like literal favorite highlights was watching our women and men skateboarders that both won gold. It was pretty good. 14-year-olds, and now she's got a duck. Her parents promised her if she won the gold, they'd buy her a pet duck.
Yeah, right.
So now they're in the yeah. Oh well. Be careful what you promise your children, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. Like it wasn't an elephant, I suppose.
I don't know. It was more entertaining watching the skateboarding than it was watching the Aussies though the other night. Anyway, not bitter about that at all.
So I think actually that's the end of my Olympic sort of take almost straight away on that. I've been watching more Summer League replays than Olympics. So I think this is it's a boring take, but the Memphis Grizzlies won the Summer League.
Yeah, that is pretty
in a
boring.
very comprehensive way. But actually, and what I mean by win, I think in terms of their talent development, and I think also in terms of just, it's really hard to have a competitive veteran team and also a good Summer League team. Like, there's not that many teams that do that. Like, the normal trajectory is the Detroit Pistons will win the Summer League because all their players are young and all of them need development and core time. So, like Cade Cunningham would be there, or Jaden Ivey. And so,
for sure.
So I think that's where I found that really interesting. So for me, the standouts were Scottie Pippen Jr. I think in my mind, he's gone from someone that is an NBA player's son who, without sounding too condescending, a little bit like Bronny James is maybe, there because his dad's there. But now he's gone from someone that, was drafted, then has been playing in the G League and really developed nicely as a player. Like his performance at the G League, I think was fantastic. So I think if you are holding Scottie Pippen Jr., I think that's really good for you right now. And I think you could also start prospecting on this kid too. Watch some Summer League footage, see what you think of him. I think his cards are, really cheap, still. So I think that's really good.
You're speaking to my soul, Russell. I'm a Pippen. I've got to... Now I'm tempted.
Look, I think
by his son.
Watched a couple of Summer League games he played really good basketball, to the point you're like. Anyway, so where I'm going with this, though, is Gigi Jackson. That was the other one that, I've been personally really interested in. So what we're going to do now is go through a bit of a deep dive on Gigi Jackson.
Nice.
And then we can talk some card values. I've got some of that in there too. And so I think the other part of this too is that he's been in my social media a lot. So I was a little bit curious, who is Gigi Jackson? So hopefully I can answer that question for you. Where we're going to start with this is NBA Draft Net. I think that is the best place to start because these NBA Draft Net guys, they just deep dive these guys for years before they come to the NBA. And it sort of gives you like a look back in time. So this is sort of going back 2 years now. So 6'9", 215 pounds power forward. That's what they listed him as. NBA comparison is Marcus Morris. And so when you think about that, you sort of think about someone who's, he's pretty big, he's pretty tough. He can do a little bit of everything, but nothing that particularly good. And then when I think about the Morris twins, it's like they're not particularly that good at ball handling and, playmaking, creating is something that they're not that particularly good at. So that's the type of player that he was in college, and it sort of goes through a bit of a talk about that. There's a couple of interesting points in here. Excellent length with a 7-foot wingspan, and that's the thing that's really stood out to me is that his wingspan is to the point where I feel like in the NBA he can guard 1 between 4, and I think that's where he's really going to have some value in the NBA.
Yeah.
Interesting, it says in here that he's a really good run and jump athlete.
Okay.
Whereas when I look at him, I think of him more as sort of like a slow plodding. He's not like an Anthony Edwards above the rim athlete. Look, he can definitely get up and dunk and he can get rebounds, but he's more kind of like a below the rim sort of athlete in my mind. But
body on body kind of guy.
yeah, that's right. He's
Post up,
definitely a big guy that can do some stuff. So that's where I always like to start. Then the next thing that I'm really interested about too is, where he was drafted. So he was drafted pick 45. So I think, in terms of were you getting some value on this guy, he's a second round pick. So the last sort of 12 months, if you've been picking him up and now he's had a really good show out, that's really good.
Yep.
And then the other thing that I like to look at too is age. So where you get this information from is you go to NBA.com, you go to stats and players.
Yep.
Then you sort it out for the 23-24 season. When you click on the age column, it will just sort it out for you. Now, at the moment in the league, there's only a handful of 19-year-olds. Bilal Coulibaly, Cam Whitmore of the Houston Rockets. Bilal, we've spoke about a few times on the show for the Wizards. Derek Whitehead for the Nets. Gigi Jackson of Memphis. Noah Clowney of Brooklyn. So they've got two really young kids there.
Yeah.
And there's a whole heap of, 20-year-olds in there too. So, that's something else that I like to see in a prospect, someone who's really young. So, and the importance of that is that, realistically, if you're 19 in the league, you could still be drafted the next 2 years and you can still make a pretty good argument that there could be still in that draft class. So I think that's where that sort of comes in.
Yep.
Then the next thing is just watching some video. So yeah, I think the thing I spoke about with you is that defending, I think he's really good. I think he's very opportunistic. So I think what that means to me is that he knows where the ball is going to land.
Okay, so yeah,
and he'll
smarts.
just pick it up and do some scoring.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good on the catch and shoot. So that's what looks pretty good to me.
Okay.
So let's move into basketball cards. Now, this is the part where I was really surprised about, because in my head, I'm like, second round pick. There's not that much going on there. But actually, he's had the 11th most Prism cards graded from the 2023 rookie year, which that really took me by surprise. So he's had 1,080 silvers graded, which I was shocked by that. I can't believe he's had that many cards sent in. Really high gem rate, though, 75% gem rate, which probably means to me that not that many of them have been cracked and regraded, because if they're grading that high, I don't think you're going to be doing it again.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very true.
807 gems total. And then looking again, this is gem rate stats. So looking at his sort of weekly stats here, it's a very steady rise upwards. So I wonder if this social media influence that I've been seeing of this guy is also reflected in terms of his sort of hobby popularity and stuff like that. So I think where I was initially, I was like, oh, have I uncovered a gem here? But actually, I think what we're going to go on and talk a little bit now is that it's actually probably opposite. We might have missed the boat. So a PSA 10, his last sales on the silver 10s is 100, 100, 100, 95, 90, 99, 105, 95, 92, 93, 114, 104, 110, 99, 95. Now, that seems like a lot. Why am I going through all of that? The thing that I'd like to point out here is that is extremely consistent, to the point that I actually wonder if there's like the Trae Young quasi shield bidding group going on out there. That is insanely consistent, like to the point that I think that's too consistent in my head. So that concerns me a little bit. The population for a second round pick concerns me a little bit. Some raws are selling for 30 and 21. Now the trap here is you go, okay, great. PSA 10, you're tripling your money, 75% gem rate, but a PSA 9 is actually selling for 25. So if you buy it for 30 and then grade it and sell a 9 for 25, you're out $50. So that's a little bit of a trap there. I found some other cards too, which I thought we could really quickly talk about. A green raw for $10.
Okay.
A Jazz, so not the Utah Jazz, the actual Jazz optic short print, that sold for 70 USD.
Okay.
A select RPA for 110. An optic auto blue, not numbered, for 146. And then the Crown Royale die cut, which I'm going to put onto socials this week, numbered to 75. That's all for $20. I was a little bit surprised by this. I was very surprised by this, actually.
Yeah. Because I remember, was it Matthew Hull that put the question to it about social media influencing
Yeah,
prices?
yeah.
Where did you first spot GG?
I'm actually not too sure.
Do
I
you
just feel
think
like,
you were influenced by the social media algorithm as part of the to did it draw your focus?
look, I wouldn't deny it or say yes, but I think for me it was probably more summer league. But I've
Okay,
definitely, when I
yeah.
started to think about it, I was definitely like, oh, I'm seeing this kid
The
around. So
algorithm's been playing now.
yeah,
Who
definitely.
knows? Who knows? It could be.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
I think that's probably where I'm sitting. At first, I was like, "Look, I think this is
Mm.
a an uncovered gem," but actually, I think might have even missed the boat on this. Now, this is my sort of final thought on this. Gold vinyl optic 1 of 1 is currently for sale, ending in, it says 4 days on my sheet, but this might be sooner. Ends in 2 days, 15 hours.
Okay.
Current bidding is $2,550.
That's a hell of a gamble.
That's a lot. I was quite surprised by that, particularly too when we know that most of the heat's going to come on in the last
Mm.
hour in this bidding. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's
after
money.
my little breakdown ad, where are you at with GG Jackson?
Definitely one to watch. I don't think like it's a prime time to buy. I do like your methodology there though. I do like the
Thank you,
way you've conducted sort of very measured with your research. Like you
thank
start
you, sir.
analyzing the player. Like I think the age is important, very much so,
Yeah,
because players don't mature until like they've got a bigger window, I guess, if they're younger.
yeah, definitely.
Whereas they've got that smaller window if you come in after 4 years. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like as a 23-year-old, you might be like you've done a full stretch at college, and you might look like a ready-made NBA player, but you're starting later than some of the other players.
yeah. It's pretty rare too for people to come in late and be stars. Like, there's not that many.
Mm.
So maybe the one that comes to my mind immediately is Dame Lillard, and I
Lillard.
think he's really the last one that's done it successfully. I
Yep.
suppose Tim Duncan was the other one too, but
He's
yeah,
spoken differently. Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
Kuzma thought he was.
Oh God.
That was funny. Anyway.
Time for a break, my man. Hey, at the very start of the show when I was doing a bit of a sniff, did that come through?
I don't think so.
Because I muted my thing, but the sound wave came up on Zencaster.
I think you muting it might be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah. Hopefully.
cool. All right, you good to go, man?
I am.
Are you happy if we do my top 10 cards of the week?
Do your top 10 cards, and then we'll obviously and the curry stuff, and that's. Oh, I've got to listen to questions too.
All right. I'll try not to crap on too much about my top 10 cards of the week.
That's all right.
Top 10. All right, you ready? And we are back. Let's get straight back into it. Add the. And now for our next segment, we have the top 10 cards of the week.
You have a bumper.
Yeah, guess who had too much time on his hands this week?
I'm giving you another week off soon. This is cool. I like it.
Thanks. Alrighty, for people at home who this is not their first episode with us, my previous top 10 cards went like this: Nikola Jokic, Jordan inserts, Anthony Edwards, numbered rookies, Steph Curry rookies, Bill Russell, Paolo Banchero, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, Herb Jones, and Jalen Johnson. So that was my top 10. So let's start at number 10. New to the list, Jarace Walker. I have been high on this kid a little bit, and I'm going to stay with that highness. I think I like him better than GG Jackson
Ooh.
because he hasn't had the same hobby heat that Gigi's had. I think that's a really good way to say it.
Okay.
Josh Giddey, also new to the list. We spoke about Josh a little bit before.
Top 10.
He's number 9, actually, Ad. So
Wow.
yeah. And the reason is because I think this trade is going to be really, really good for him.
Okay.
I think the Olympics are nothing but good news for this kid. I think he needs a better media manager. But other than that, Josh has been doing everything pretty much perfectly. And I think also too he handled his firing from OKC with a lot of grace. Like he didn't say a single bad word about nothing. He's just like, down to business. So his silver PSA 10 is trading at $105,
Nice.
and you can spend $105 on way worse things in the hobby at the moment. Pop on that's $145. Yep, really good purchase there. Now, Chet Holmgren also new to the list. So, why is Chet Holmgren on this list? Before we're talking about sorting the ages of players in the regular season into a list. If you filter that down to the playoffs, the list of people is it's obviously very, very different, and the ages of people are different, but the young players who are good in that list stand out like a sore thumb. Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren. I didn't realize how young he is. I think that's
Okay.
the best way to say it. Yeah, his silver
Okay.
PSA 10. He's finally on card ladder now. Population on this is 532. It last traded at $240. I think there's some legs in this. I think players like Chet Holmgren, and it might not be Chet who is the future of the league, but I think his skill set is where we're going. You just have this kid who you roll out and you could play them in any position, ask them to do sort of anything, and they'll be able to do it. I'm getting higher and higher on this kid as it's going along. Staying at number 7, I've got Tyrese Maxey. I'm not going to look up his pop report or anything, but basically he was last trading at $300 for a silver PSA 10. Population on that's 448. Do you know what? We probably should refresh this, shouldn't we? That would actually make it more interesting.
Refresh what?
Oh, because I'm just reading out old stats, but I could just do it as I'm talking to you, couldn't I?
You could.
It's not really that hard, is it? Population's 496.
Yeah.
It last traded for 249. So that means it's actually gone down $50 since we did it. So I'm going to actually call that even juicier.
Ooh.
At number 6, we got Paulo Banchero. And why am I keeping him on my list? He did nothing in the playoffs to make me think that he should be moved down or moved off. I actually think he probably should have got a lot more love in the playoffs. I think he showed out really, really well in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think people maybe underestimate how hard it is to take a young or a bad team or both and turn that into a winning team. I just think that he's still in this really weird spot of being ultra talented, but also being overlooked at the same time. So population on this is 680. It last traded for about $400.
Okay.
Since we last spoke about that, that's actually way up. So he was trading at 289 when we spoke about him last.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of fun. Jalen Brunson at number 5. I've moved him up 2 spots. I don't really think I need to talk about this too much. I think his playoff performance was just, frankly, breathtaking. And then he re-signs with the Knicks, takes this enormous discount, and then they pick up all these extra pieces, to the point that we thought they'd have to move Randall out, but they don't need to because he took this, enormous discount. So in terms of the people's champion, in terms of, being a leader, I love this so much. Population on this is 510. This last traded at 325. I'm going to go out. This is going to be way up from when we last spoke about it. Oh no, 335. So that's about the same, isn't it? Really? Yeah, it's almost exactly the same.
Okay.
He had a massive spike a couple of months to 440, so he's down a little bit, but at $330, I've got no problems with that at all. All right, now we're getting into the juicy stuff. So at number 4, I've got Anthony Edwards. I've moved him down 1 spot, but it's like so much to be concerned about. It's more about Steph Curry, and Steph Curry's at number 3. I moved him up 1 spot. I think his performance at the Olympics has just been... I think he's united basketball fans in this really weird way. So Bill Simmons, who's the ultimate Celtics homer, wasn't talking about how Jason Tatum was benched. He's talking about how dynamic and how breathtaking Steph Curry's been. And it's also really funny. I was thinking about this today, is that Jason Tatum is the current NBA champion, but the Olympic team is being championed by LeBron James,
Yeah.
Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, who guys aren't actually that successful in the NBA anymore,
Yeah.
but they have that Olympic skill set and the veteran nous to, be the leaders of that team. So that to me is a really interesting dynamic, but you sort of get the feeling that the next wave is going to be Jason Tatum, Devin
Edwards.
Booker, Edwards, maybe Banchero is going to be put in there, maybe Chet Holmgren, is going to be in
Yeah.
there. Maybe Jalen Brunson, that's where I'm going with this. Now, this next one at number 2, if I get a bit of hate on this, I'm totally fine with it. I don't really care. This is a little bit of a throwback to you and your segment that you did last week, and you really got me thinking. So last time at this spot, I had Jordan inserts. Now this week, I've got Kobe inserts. And so
Oh.
the reason, so hear me out on this. The reason is it was very much about your show that you did last week. It really got me thinking. And it got me thinking about value, because that's what we talk about with Jordan. Where are the
Yep.
inserts that are value, right? So I started to look at Kobe Bryant inserts, and I didn't do hours of research on this, but I found this 1819 retro series from Donruss,
Yep.
BGS 9.5, 2 out of 99. The listed price was $349 from that. And yes, I definitely agree that that's pretty high, but a sold one on this that went to auction, 16 out of 49 from the Retro Series Blue PSA 10, sold for $153. Now, you can't tell me when we fast forward into the future when Kobe's popping, like all the guys like you are,
Yeah.
buying
Yeah.
cards
Yep.
in the future.
Yep.
I think that is one of the best cards that, in terms of purchases, I've seen for a really long time. Now, I
Yeah.
found another card, the Kobe Bryant Elite Series. Again, I'll put this up onto socials this week so everyone can have a
Yep.
look at these pictures. The Hollow Masters numbered to 99. This sold raw for $648. The BGS of the same card, I think it was BGS 8. I didn't actually write that down, but I'm pretty sure it was 8. That sold for $945. So I think if you are, looking at those numbers, obviously that's a bit more special card than a retro series, but at the same time, 16 out of 49. Whoever bought that, congratulations to you. And at number 1, I'm staying with Nikola Jokic. He was the Aussie killer. He really stretched the Americans basically to the limit.
Mm-hmm.
A number to 65 orange went to auction this week. It sold for $11,000 US. Yes, I think that is high. I'd almost go very high, but I think when you zoom out and you look at all the achievements that he's done, I'm still staying with this. I think there's some value for this.
Value in Jokic.
Yeah, and look, I don't think that's future prices. I'm very happy with that now, but I still think, trying to get some sort of lower end numbered Jokic stuff, even if it's at lower grades,
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be an absolute home run. So would you like to critique my list, Adam? Is there any feedback for me on my
No,
top
not really.
10?
Like I think it's very interesting. It seems like it's a very easy list to infiltrate.
Is that a compliment or an insult? Hang on a second. Should be I offended here or not? I'm
No,
confused.
look, it could be. You could take that however you like. It's it's your list, but it is. It's good to see some change. It really sucked to be one of those lists where it's like the same 10 players every check-in. So
to be fair, I kind of deliberately moved some stuff around to make it interesting. Yeah, particularly at the bottom. So I had a few notable mentions there: Dyson Daniels, Bilal Coulibaly, Anthony Black, Grady Dick, Jet Howard, Keontae George, Herb Jones, Jalen Johnson. But yeah, it's no fun just doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
times.
it's nice to see some other young players get a look-see. Yeah, nice switch from the Jordan to the Kobe inserts. I thought you were going to say you were going to get Shaq inserts. And I'm like, oh no.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with collecting Shaq inserts, and that's again feedback from listening to your show. But I don't think he has the broad appeal that Jordan, Kobe, Steph has. I don't think he's quite into that upper echelon. So
yeah, I definitely definitely agree with that. And I think today's yesterday, today, however you look at it, the Olympic gold medal result. As you were talking about Tatum and how LeBron and co were sort of the flagship, like Tatum was nowhere to be seen. I think Curry. I think this is more important to Curry's legacy than anything. It cements him, sort of his list of achievements. This added to Curry's legacy, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was probably my Olympic highlight. Was waking up this morning and watching Steph Curry cook. Like he was in full chef mode, and he put France to sleep, quite literally,
Yeah.
with lights out shooting, which he's always done. But yeah, yeah.
Do you think he should have passed that last one where he shot over two French defenders and Katie and LeBron were both open?
He wouldn't. It wouldn't have been as classic a. It wouldn't have been the knockout punch it was if he hadn't done that.
Tell me some armchair under 16s coaches weren't yelling at him to pass the ball that night, though. Come on.
But you mean like the teenage coaches that are just like, well, yeah. So you go down to domestic and you're like telling the child to pass the ball to learn team basketball, and the kid just jacks it up over two defenders, and then it goes in, and he just looks back at the coach.
That's literally it.
Which is funny because he looked back at Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr's like, yeah, I know. But yes, that was definitely the best, night pose by Steph Curry himself. It was amazing.
It's a cool move, yeah.
It was pretty timely, and who knows, maybe that'll be a new timeless moment. He's done it a couple of times though.
There's the Topps instant cards that are coming out already with it, so
it's going to be so good.
Yeah. Should we finish off with a question from Matthew Hull?
We should, and just quickly with regards to Matthew Hull, was watching on the YouTube live feed and did have an Olympic comment. So Dream Team, then the Redeem Team, then that absolute bludger calls it the Avengers. Avengers of what? What an absolute expletive. Anyway,
who called it the Avengers?
LeBron.
Oh, did he?
So we had the Dream Team, which was Jordan. We had the Redeem Team that was Kobe, which featured LeBron. And then LeBron's gone coining this team the Avengers. There's nothing to avenge. Good point.
I assume he's saying that they're superheroes, that someone is Iron Man, someone is...
Oh, there are meme-ish posters up there.
The Hulk or something like that. Oh, God. Anyway,
LeBron coins himself as like Captain America, I think, in the image.
Oh, right. So that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, because he was the captain. He got to hold the flag.
He got to hold the flag.
Oh, God. Okay. Whatever. That's fine. Look, all the achievements he's had, he can call himself whatever he wants. He's earned that right, I think.
Yes. He is turning 40 shortly.
Hi, team. It's your boy, the original hobby regulator and Lulu discriminator. I thought that was you, Ad. This isn't a question or a wine post, but kind of is. Sorry, mate, what were you saying?
No. I'll let Matthew be the original. It's fine.
Just want to say that sometimes it's okay not to take the low ball, only paying 75% of comms, even though I don't have a card shop, nor am I flipping cards, folks. Sometimes holding out works. Sometimes just saying nah, get stuffed in a nice hobby professional way is okay. Proof for me is I offered a card for ages to be sold below what it was worth. People kept offering ridiculously low comps from a year previous were higher, and the player has a chip now. I listed on eBay whilst trying to sell it in the groups, and just today sold it for more than I asked. Even after eBay fees, I'll still walk out up. I had my inner Adam, Amy, and Russell. A card's value is what a collector is willing to pay, and that rings true today. So to all the players who are playing, stay humble and true to the card and what you think it is worth. To all the haters, keep thinking Luca will save you. You'll be right. Maybe. Peace and love. Matthew Hull. P.S. Here's the card. It is a Jason Tatum select 2-color patch with some stitching on it. So you could almost argue it's 3. Game worn enclosed material, 10 out of 10. So selective swatches. Yeah.
It's a nice little card.
Interesting one. Look, I think if you want to get a particular price for a card, you have to be more patient. If you want to sell it in an hour, you do have to be more at the mercy of people throwing you low ball offers.
Yeah. If it's time sensitive, for sure.
Yeah, and I think, can I be honest with you? I think that's why people do put in low ball offers or make 75% of comps offers, because they think that if you want to sell, you'll take it because you need the cash today for something else. So I think in this instance, Matty didn't need the money for something, and he was quite particular about what he wanted for it.
Yeah.
Look, I think that you do have to be a little bit careful, because if you were holding cards from 2 years ago, and you're hoping to get what you paid for them back, you could be waiting another 10 years before it upcycles again.
True.
So that strategy will work out sometimes, particularly if the comp that they're referring to is quite old and things have changed since that. Like, I think this is a very particular instance.
Yeah.
So look, there's some cards that I paid for, I paid $200 for them. They might not be worth $50 now. So what do you do with them? Do you sell them at a 75% loss, or do you hold on to them in hope that you will flip them and get that, even if you break even back, or 25% less? It's a tough one.
I have a tendency to think that the undertone with Matthew's little example here,
Yeah,
it's not necessarily about getting overs for it or getting what you want for it, but it's not settling for the low offer.
yeah, sure.
It's not being impulsive and going, I have to accept that. You're right. It's all time and a place. There are people that are selling cards, and it's time sensitive.
It's nuanced too. There's so many different things. Yeah, look, I've probably taken the wrong perspective on this. Yeah, so keep going.
I do, and that's the thing. If it's not time sensitive and you've got time to, if time's on your side and you're not in a hurry to sell it, then be patient. Literally, just be patient and sell it when you're prepared to sell it. Don't never feel pressured to sell to someone thinking you're not going to sell it if you don't.
Sure.
So it's that. Don't be pressured by someone throwing a low ball, expecting that that's the only offer you're going to get. If you do exercise a little bit of patience, then maybe you'll be able to get something a little bit more favorable down the track.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, alternatively, you can collect Luka Doncic and be bitterly disappointed in a few years. Sorry, you might be right. Who knows? So as Matthew said, could be. You could be investing heaps into Luka, and not he might not be Zion 2.0. Who knows?
I think
I'm just being argumentative now.
So no, just to take your point though, if you went all in on Luka, I think you would be feeling better than going all in on Zion or all in on Ja. I think if you went very deep on those last two guys, you would not be feeling fantastic about the hobby.
Yes, I think yeah, you're very right.
Yeah,
you're very right.
I think that would be quite difficult. Anyway, let's finish the show on a slightly more positive note. We somehow went into a very negative spin.
Low ballers tend to do that to us.
All right. This is from Twitter post @SunsAreBetter. And still the plus-minus leader for Team USA now through 9 games. And the only player with a positive plus-minus in every game is Devin Booker at plus 96. It should be clear to the world now how great of an all-round basketball player he is. Now, when I read that, I'm not going to lie to you. I've never been the biggest Devin Booker fan. And I've always felt that Devin Booker has been a little bit overcooked, if not overpriced.
Okay.
But, and again, I haven't watched a heap of Olympics, but what I have seen of him, he played very, very good basketball.
Very consistent basketball.
That I would think about buying some of his cards. He is currently selling at $700. Population on a PSA 10 is 226. So he's from 2015. So that is like 3 years before the crush.
Is he Jokic? Is Jokic 15?
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at him in 1 year, he's down 35%. If you look at him in 2 years, he's down 51%. Oh my God. He went up to $7,600 ad in pandemic.
I was going to say, that actually doesn't surprise me. All of the bigger names through the pandemic, if they were big names then, and they're still big names now, it's normally 10x is roughly it.
Yeah. He went up like 7 times. He was trading about $1,000 before
Yeah.
the pandemic. Look, I actually think Booker's got some legs now.
At 700, do you reckon Booker's legs?
Yeah, I reckon that's okay.
Okay, I've got him. I don't know what the buy-in point.
I would
for
never
Booker
have
is for
said
me.
that 12 months ago. Like, this is a change for my mindset.
It's interesting how an Olympic performance can do that, but like as far as, I guess it becomes evident because if you're not a Suns fan, I guess you don't get to see much of Devin Booker.
I wouldn't say I'm not a Suns fan. I just don't think he was that well-rounded, and that really took my attention. Like, he was doing a lot of different things out there.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good one to finish.
That's a really good one to finish on.
Final thoughts?
I'm glad the Olympics is over. Not that I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was nice to watch a few games here and there.
Yeah.
My predictions were way off. Actually, it was closer than most. I did have Serbia medaling. So, yeah, it was...
Jokic was celebrating for sure. He was loving it.
He was very close to being in the gold medal game.
Yeah.
Against Wemby. That would have been very interesting, I think. But yeah, it was a nice little tournament. But the end of the Olympics also signals that we are not far away from preseason stuff happening, training camps, and that will mean it'll be blink and you miss it, and we will be at the start of a new NBA season.
Yeah, it's coming pretty consistently. I don't really feel I've had an NBA drought.
No.
Yeah, there's content. Yeah,
it's nice.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ad.
Yeah, thanks. Welcome back.
Cheers.